The riches are in the niches, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how to niche down to make more money and the challenges that you're gonna face while doing it. The pros and cons of a niche agency. And what I want you to think about from your standpoint is if you guys are working for a company that is in a niche, these rules and these pros and cons and the things we're talking about today are going to apply to your situation if you're in that niche. If you're selling commodities, there has to be some value proposition that you have. You can't just say, I'm a me too person, right? I sell everything that this other company does the exact same way. Everybody's got their value proposition, but the key is to find out how can you have any sort of niche in it. So for our niche as a marketing agency, we're an industrial marketing agency. So that is B2B, but it's focused on industrial and technical companies. What does that mean? Industrial, manufacturing. If you make something that is a product that is not a standard product that an average person will understand, that's part of our client base. Anything on the industrial manufacturing services side, you guys have a product that you're using to provide a service. You guys buy equipment and provide a service. Everything under the sun, that's the world that we live in. That's what we've done for the last 8 years. Prior to that, I was in industrial for 15 years, selling and marketing, doing some engineering stuff. So this is all I know. So when I created the agency, I had a lot of hurdles to overcome and still do continue to have hurdles to overcome. And we're gonna jump into this list right now. So the first con, if you're in a niche, any niche, I'm gonna speak specifically to the industrial marketing niche and companies that we work with in manufacturing and industrial that are in a niche, is that people don't know that you exist. So if you look at everything from a standpoint of traditional way of doing things in your industry, and I'll speak to my industry, the traditional way that manufacturing and industrial companies try and find a company like ours, an agency like ours, is gonna be they're gonna type in marketing or sales in a city or in B2B. That's a broad range. They don't know to search for the keyword phrases, and the data supports it by showing the number of people searching for what it is that we do a month is very low compared to the bigger non-niche way of doing it. The same is going to apply to you if you are in a niche. If you look at it from a traditional standpoint, people traditionally do a service that has been around for a while, a way of doing things that's been around for a while. And if you've got something new and you're like, dude, we don't have any competitors because what we're doing is completely new. Well, you do. Your competition is traditional. If you figure out a new way to powder coat something, machine something, a new way to tend to machines with robotics, then your competition is traditional. So you have to look at it from the standpoint that people are going to be searching and going after those people that are providing that solution. They don't know that you even exist. So with that con, how can you overcome it? The way you have to overcome it is you have to get in front of their face and scream at them and say, hey, we're here. We've got a better way of doing it. We found a better way to make a mousetrap. Not literally, maybe literally, because there are some pretty dope mousetraps out there these days. You have to scream at them. The way to do that is to produce content. You have to push it out on platforms where your potential customers are and get it in front of their face. Now, if they're not looking for you, they're not in a buyer's mindset. So you have to educate them. This is what we do. This is why it's better. This is why we're better than the typical way of doing it. That's going to be a longer sales cycle most of the time for people that are doing services and products, because you have to educate them on why this new technology, this new thing is going to save them money, efficiencies, time, whatever it is. It's going to do something. There's some value proposition that you have. If you are in the traditional way of doing it, you guys have to figure out something that's different. If you're just like all of the other people in your space, what separates you? What's gonna make it to where me as a buyer wants to purchase something from you instead of going to the competition? It can't just be price, it can't just be quality, because that's like the price needs to be competitive, relatively speaking. The quality needs to be there, the customer service needs to be there. Like, you can't use those as a value proposition. When we meet with manufacturing companies, I ask them, what's your value proposition? You can't say price, you can't say delivery, you can't say quality, and you can't say engineering. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know what my value proposition is then. And let's get creative. Let's talk about it. Let's look at your competition and figure out how are you doing something that's better or different than them. So you have to get creative because they're not searching for you. People are not searching for us. They will type in what it is that we do with marketing and sales, and they'll type it in a general type of search phrase in their general area. Maybe they'll say near me. If I try and go after those keywords, that's general. My competition is massive now. There's so many people that are going after those general keywords. There's also nothing that's gonna separate me, even if I put stuff on the website that says, we do, but we're a marketing agency, but we only work with these companies. If I'm not showing up for those people that do search for that specific niche type search phrase, then nobody's ever gonna find me that are looking for me. So you have to kind of put your flag in the sand and say, this is what I'm going after. If you guys are doing different, newer, non-traditional ways of solving problems in the space, then you have to kind of play with the words and figure out how many people are searching for it the right way, and maybe I have some pages ranking for that, but then these other pages are ranking for the traditional way that people are searching. So that's a huge con. That's probably the biggest con ever. People aren't searching for you. So how do you get in front of them? Don't rely on search. Put together a plan to show up when people do search for you, but you have to go 20 times harder on the forefront to be able to aggressively pull them in and say, look at me, look at me. We do this for your specific niche. We have tons of experience doing it. We're better than everybody else. You have to be aggressive from a sales standpoint. Outbound marketing, outbound sales, all that stuff has to be screaming and jumping to get attention around it. The easiest way to do it is going to be make a ton of content and then push it out there on the platforms that they pay attention to. The next con is going to be, you're going to grow slower. If you're in a niche world, you're going to have slower growth because of the fact that nobody knows even to search for you. I don't care if you've got the latest robotic technology where you're using multiple cameras and 6-dimensional imaging and whatever it is, you will grow slower because people are used to the traditional way. They don't know to search for you. You have to educate them. It's going to be a longer sales cycle. It's going to be more in depth with education. People are going to be like, well, who currently uses you? Well, we've only got these 3 companies. One of them's really big. We're doing stuff with GE or with Ford or whoever, but they're going to be like, I want to go with the tried and true traditional way of doing it because they don't want to take the risk. So you're going to grow slower. Go into it knowing that, but we'll get to the pros of this where you can charge more money in a second. The next thing is going to be the competition is going to be bigger in the beginning. Again, you're going to grow slower. Your competition is bigger. You're going up against the whales, the giants, the people that have massive reach. We were on a call yesterday with a prospect and they do scanning equipment and they're going up against some of the biggest companies in the space that produce scanning equipment. There is no way that they can compete with them from a standpoint of the latest technology coming out with multiple products because they don't have a team of thousands of people doing it. So how do you compete up against them? Focusing on a niche and creating a lot of content to push in front of them so that way you're educating them faster than when they do say, I need a solution to this, punch it in the keyboard. That competitor that's bigger and badder than you is going to show up first. That's one method of getting in front of them, right? They're Google searching, they're going on LinkedIn searching, they're asking their friends for a referral, they're asking people in the department, hey, we need a new this, do you know anybody? Oh yeah, you should try this new company. What the key is there and the goal is going to be you want, when those conversations are happening, somebody that you're connected with on LinkedIn, somebody that's seen your videos on YouTube or LinkedIn, gotten an email from you says, you know what, you should check out XYZ company. They're doing something pretty cool. I got this thing from them or I saw this video. You should definitely check them out. That's what you're trying to go after because the big boys have the brand. You don't have a brand yet to trust and to be able to rely upon. They've already got that. They've spent decades doing it and tens of millions of dollars. So don't try and compete with them at their own game. You have to do things that they're not doing, which is going to be produce a lot of content, put it in front of people aggressively, and go strategically after groups of industries, groups of people, personas, whatever it is, like aggressively go after engineers. Try and get as many engineers in this ecosystem to know your name, to start building up the brand recognition, and then start selling to them. Jumping on to the pros side, I know some of you guys, like I'm not a Debbie Downer, I don't like talking about cons. I always take a con and turn it into a pro. That's just how I work. You can provide a bigger impact faster. That means that there's less time that you have to spend learning because you already know their niche. So for us, we talk to people every single week that book discovery calls with us. You just heard it yesterday on that discovery call with that company. It was actually a second call. Got pulled into the office from my business development manager, Alex. You guys have probably seen him on LinkedIn. He's making a lot more content these days. And the guy said the amount of money that he spent on an agency to learn, right, to develop a strategy, it was ridiculous. So as a niche agency, we save people time because I don't need you to explain to me what a machine is or what a service is, because we already know it, because we already do it, or I have experience in my past 23 years working with manufacturing companies. So we save them money and time. Time is more important than money, right? Money you can get back, time you can't. You can always make more money, you can't create more time. So I always just look at it from the standpoint, if somebody took 90 days to learn and develop a strategy, that is a significant waste of time, and you will never get that back. So as a niche, I'm able to say, oh, who are you selling to? These people? Well, here's how you do it, and here's how I know how you do it, because this is what we do. And we can do it starting in week 3 after we get all of this stuff integrated and set up. Now, an agency will be like, no, I need to develop a strategy. It's going to take me 90 days. And I focus on industrial manufacturing companies too. That is a way for them to buy time to keep charging you more money. The way that we approach it is different. We want impact as fast as possible, because I was in your shoes before and I was sick of marketing agencies saying that it's going to take 30, 60, 90 days to figure it out. I just want action as fast as possible. When can you take over my LinkedIn post? When can I see the first article from you? When are you going to come out and shoot videos? As fast as possible, because at the end of the day, ROI matters. And if you guys aren't doing your job as an agency, they're not going to be bringing in opportunities. You're not going to be able to jump on revenue streams from that and bring in new opportunities to then say, my ROI was this. Any sort of niche, it doesn't have to be our specific situation with marketing. You can provide a bigger impact faster because you know exactly what their pain points are, and you built your entire system, product, processes, services that you offer around solving that pain point. You're also going to have a faster sales cycle. You're not going to need to do a call to understand, a second call to learn, bring in the boss, let's do a proposal, let's figure out how can we do this for your situation. You go into it saying, I know the top pain points because I work in this niche. Are these top pain points for you? Yep, I've got 3 of those 5. Do you have any other pain points? Yep, I got this other one. Okay, cool. What we're gonna do is offer a solution to all of those pain points to be able to make you whole again and bring in new opportunities and get your brand out there harder and faster and stronger. And it all comes down to knowing exactly what they need and asking specific questions when you don't know exactly what it is that they need. I can ask any company 4 questions. Answers to those 4 questions give me enough information to develop a strategy, put together a proposal, and start taking massive action immediately and produce results. So if you're in a niche, if you're in traditional and you're like, I want to go into a niche, you have to think about it from the standpoint that you are the expert. So you should be able to get to the end result faster. If you can't, niche down even further. You can say, I sell this commodity, I sell plastics. So many companies sell plastics, right? Plastic resin, composites, things like that. Get down into a further niche. I'm selling engineered grade. I don't mess with the commodity stuff, polypropylene, ethylene, stuff like that. I always go back to plastics because that's where I spent 8.5 years of my life was in thermoplastics. Go even further. I only do engineered grade stuff. What is that going to do? That's going to take away some of the market on the commodity stuff. But now you're not a Me Too person, you're a niche. You're going to have slower growth because you're only selling one segment of a tire group, but you can be the experts in that space. And that's what you have to focus on. How can I be the expert in this space? In our space, there's a lot of people that are talking about it. There's some good companies that we compete with that if I had to pick between us, obviously I'm going to pick us because I'm a little bit biased, but there's some good, solid competition out there in our niche. We still have to educate people on why what they're doing is not working or won't work. And we still have people that say, I went down this path and it was the 4th agency I tried. They said that they knew manufacturing industrial, but still I spent $28,000 in 3 months and I didn't get anything in return. I spent $60,000 a year and they didn't move the needle much. And so people can say that they're in a niche, but if what they do doesn't work, then it doesn't really matter. But you can get there faster if you niche down. Next thing is going to be less time learning, more time taking action. That's just a follow-up point to what I just said. If you're spending less time learning about somebody and more time taking action, then you're going to produce results faster. They're going to get more bang for their buck. You're going to be able to shorten the cycle on the ROI and be able to keep them happy and make them happy to where down the road you've got a lifetime client. That's what you have to focus on. You're trying to say, I'm in this niche, I know what we're supposed to be doing, and if you sell them that and you start doing it, you're not doing it, then you need to change your team under you that's taking that action, because if you sell somebody that we know how this stuff works and then you don't, then your brand will fizzle out pretty quickly. Another point to add to it is you can charge more money. People have this phrase, the riches are in the niches, right? You can charge more money because you're saving time, not because you can say, I'm gonna charge more money because I'm in a niche and these people will know that I know what I'm talking about, so I can charge them $5,000 more or $500,000 more. It all comes down to time, like I said. It's like those jokes that people say, like you bring in a mechanic or something like that, and it's like the $10,000 bill, it was $1 to turn the screw, but it was $9,999 to know which screw to turn. That person is an expert in that space. But even that mechanic has to figure out, how do I separate myself from everybody else? So people will pay more, not to just get something better, but to save time, especially in this industry that I serve. Time is everything, and people have zero patience. Guys, we've got a fun video coming from a cold calling challenge that Laura is gonna take probably 6 months to edit because there's so much footage. But we've got, what is it now, 6.5 hours?
Almost 7 hours.
We've got almost 7 hours of footage of me and Mason making cold calls, because I did a challenge. Who can book more appointments after making 100 calls? And there's some repercussions of who loses to that challenge. So that's gonna be coming out shortly with some minor tweaks to the challenge because some things happen, but it's all fun stuff. We're just trying to educate you guys, show you some behind the scenes, show you how we do it for other clients, see what works. Head over to the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, follow me on LinkedIn, engage with the content, please, because it helps me out. We bring this to you for free. All I'm asking back is for you guys to share it with someone that you know, and we will see you on the next one.